Welcome to the show, everyone. It's the Crypto Lark. Today, I got to sit down with Bill Ottman. He is the CEO and founder over at Minds.com. Bill, how's it going?
Hey, good. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Now, for anybody who hasn't heard about Minds yet, give us the short version. What are you guys doing?
So we're a crypto social network, open source and decentralized and encrypted, and you earn tokens for your contributions to the network. And then you can use those tokens to boost your content for more views or wire to other channels in exchange for different rewards that the creators set, such as exclusive content and other services.
Nice. And now Minds has been around for a couple of years now, and the blockchain integration is a more recent part of the Minds project. So why did you start Minds in the first place?
Well, we always knew that there is inevitably sort of going to be an open source competitor in the social networking world. And, so in the same way that Bitcoin is an open source money, WordPress, open source CMS, Wikipedia, open source encyclopedia, like just every industry is getting disrupted by open source decentralized projects. So it is happening in social, and there's a number of projects that are working on this. And, there's probably going to be some collaboration and competition there. But yeah, we just knew that needed to happen, and then there need to be anti-surveillance, anti-censorship, encrypted, reward-based, incentivized, monetized. All these things are what a social network really should look like, as opposed to the more extractive models that all the proprietary networks are engaged in.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are getting tired of the Facebook model where you go on, you put a lot of effort into doing something over there, you don't get any reward for it, of course, and Facebook then takes your data and sells it to the highest bidder, and they reap all the rewards while you do all the work. I mean, it's clever on their part, but I think as a user, it's not a very persuasive model.
Well, yeah, it's clever in the short term because it's helping their numbers, their revenue numbers, but long term, well, now we're seeing they're losing millions of active users. So
Yeah.
that is coming back to bite them, where they got us all to work really hard on their platforms, build up audiences. I mean, we actually, for a while we were using Facebook a lot to drive traffic to Minds, just posting like viral videos and really trending articles, stuff like that. And we had pages on Facebook with like 5 million followers with all the pages that we had. We could drive crazy traffic. But now in the past few years, the algorithm in their news feed is restricting the reach of posts so much that you're only reaching like a few percent of your own followers. So like it's a joke. They brought everyone in under this pretense that you'd be able to reach your community, and then the very thing that a social network is supposed to do, they destroyed. And they now want people to pay, and you don't even know what your newsfeed is now. It's just a mess of like weird algorithms. So on Minds, it's all chronological. We're never going to mess with that. It's always going to be 100% reach. And we built in a boost system so that you can get more impressions.
That's awesome. So on Minds, if I want to post about politics or whatever, that's not going to be algorithmed out like it is on Facebook.
Right.
This is what blows my mind about Facebook and how so many people are still so keen on, using Facebook, is that dissenting political views, yeah, that gets filtered out. Pages talking about cryptocurrencies, yeah, that gets filtered out. It's all this stuff that just starts to disappear from your feed, and then you just wonder why is everyone talking about cats and Kim Kardashian all the time? Well, it's because that's what the algorithm identifies as safe stuff, and that's what you get.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so advertising on Minds, this is the boost function. So can you tell us a little more about that, how that works?
Sure. So honestly, it does work similar to the way promoted posts work on other major social networks. The main difference being that we're not spying on people in order to target those boosts. So the way that it works is you just, go to the image that you uploaded on your page and click the boost button on the bottom. And then you pick how many views you want. Right now, one token gives 1,000 views. That may fluctuate over time.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just feed it chronologically in the order that they were received to people. And, we're probably going to be building out ability to receive, opt in to certain categories of boost just so that people can curate their own experience more if they want to. But we would never force people to, be targeted.
Mm-hmm.
And so, there's another type of boost that's really important called, so the one I just outlined is a newsfeed boost, where every 15 posts in your newsfeed, you'll see a boost. But I could also send you a boost offer where you'll get a notification that says, hey, Bill's offering you 100 tokens to share this post. And you click accept or reject. And so that's much more peer-to-peer advertising. If I know that I want to reach your audience, then why wouldn't I go directly to you and take mine's completely out of the equation? And that's, I think really important because it directly connects advertisers and brands and, allows for, true peer-to-peer relationships to exist.
Mm-hmm.
And then so on your page, your followers would see a post, from me or whatever, and it would say boosted on it. So they would know that it was a promoted post. But I think that's really valuable because there's this whole underground economy happening on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube where pages are like behind the scenes, doing paid endorsements and whatnot. But it's just so much more automated and efficient to just have it be through the platform that pages can pay each other. So that's pretty exciting. And transparent, yeah. And it's because on the blockchain, all the peer-to-peer. So for the boosts, they're all published to the blockchain. And so there's a checksum of data about that boost. So you can, we could create apps to create some sort of interface to, see that information about all of the advertising. We're trying to be as transparent as possible. And then, so that's how the boost system works.
Awesome. Now, you can also, of course, upvote people, give them a like on their post. Can I actually earn by getting an upvote on my post?
Yes. So you earn based on engagement that you receive. So unique engagement for upvotes, comments, shares, referrals that you make, check-ins throughout the day. And, if you go to your wallet, there's a number of other things. We're going to be doing rewards for development as well. Those will be more custom and sort of have to be approved. But we're also, trying to be creative. And also at the same time, like for our old point system, which was all internal and not on the blockchain, we had rewards where you could actually earn points for creating content, just like posting. Mm-hmm. But we found that was quite gameable. Yeah. And so we had to phase that out. But it was a really good learning experience. And, unfortunately, that is the case because I do think that there is value being brought to the network through that type of posting. But really, the real value is in, which proves the quality of the content is when you are receiving engagement. So also, we're probably in the future going to be bringing in some sort of rewards for if you want to serve boosts on your pages and your content, you can earn for helping us serve boosts and, a variety of other things.
Awesome. Now, the ERC20 token, so you've chosen the Ethereum network. The ERC20 token, it's the Mines token, right? And so that will be used. So if I want to buy a boost, for example, I use that token or whatever it might be. So when can I do on-chain and when can I do off-chain? Is there on-chain and off-chain options here? And what's the difference between the two?
So, we're considering if we're going to do thresholds for, people can do off-chain up to a certain amount, and then you kind of have to go on-chain. It's in the creator's interest to have their stuff coming on-chain because then you are in full control over, that relationship and those addresses are directly communicating. But just for scaling purposes, we needed to be integrating off-chain solutions for like distribution of the rewards every day. And we have thousands of boost requests happening every day. So we don't want to overload the Ethereum network. And we know that could potentially happen. So, and additionally, the learning curve for people to understand MetaMask and crypto in general, our whole community, it took them even a while just to understand the point system and boosting on its own. So when you're bringing in learning MetaMask, even though it is not hard, for some people it is really hard, and so you need to kind of guide people along the way into first learning about off chain and then teaching about on chain.
Yeah, well, that's something to consider. Is that actually for probably a lot of people on mines, they're not all Bitcoin holders, they're not all Ethereum holders. This might be some of their first exposure to using cryptocurrencies, and then using something like MetaMask and cryptographic addresses. They're just going, "What's going on here? I just want to click like on something." So I can see the learning curve without a doubt. Are you worried about Ethereum? Ethereum obviously is slow enough at the moment, and there's a lot of dApps being built on top of Ethereum. Do you think they're going to be able to scale to the level that your network's going to require?
I mean, I don't know. I think that they're the best in regards to the developer tools they have around smart contracts and web integration with all the Web3 tools and tools like MetaMask. I mean, there's just nothing else out there that honestly even comes close. So we have other blockchain, and Ethereum's an extremely decentralized network. It's incomparable to many others also. So you just have to weigh those options. And in terms of competitors that were viable, honestly, there's not really anything. I think that there's lots of interesting projects that down the pipe could compete, but we're not really seeing much out there with the number of developer tools.
Very interesting. And would you be open to potentially changing blockchains if you thought that might be a useful thing to do in the future?
Yeah, for sure. I think that we're open to whatever is the smartest solution, whatever the community determines makes the most sense for scaling and for speed and transaction fees and all these kinds of items.
Nice. Now, my data on mines, what happens to it?
So we don't require any personal information just to make an account, which I think is important in itself because Facebook and others don't even allow you to be anonymous. So that's kind of the ground level of context I think is really important. We don't actually want people to give us any personal information if they don't want to. Our primary database is Cassandra, so that is this quote-unquote centralized database. So we're kind of hybrid, centralized, decentralized. We also just added WebTorrent to our whole video system. So now we have decentralized video and decentralized advertising and payment infrastructure. And in the future, if we can move towards a more decentralized world in regards to the rest of the site, we're looking into it. It's just a matter of the maturity of these tools. But but we encrypt everything. From our messenger, we have zero knowledge of the content in our messenger. We don't want to be a part of that equation. We're not scanning conversation. We didn't want to put ourselves in a position to be able to do that. So, otherwise, yeah, everything's encrypted. And, the public post, the funny thing about Facebook, they try to say, oh, you have all these privacy tools to, decide which of your friends can see which posts. But they're forgetting about the most important privacy, which is Facebook's ability to
see everything.
Look at your information, see everything. So,
yeah.
We don't actually even future, but everything else is public online. I mean, when you post, we don't have like the ability to post to only a certain number of people. We do have closed groups, but that's really the only place where that exists. Generally speaking, everything's public, and because we're not trying to promise privacy when it's not actually private. If it's just a sort of layered permission level that is not encrypted, it's really not private. So promising privacy when it's not is not ideal.
Nice. I love the whole ethos behind what you guys are doing at Mines. Not screwing over your customers. It's a crazy revolutionary concept. Like, hey, you can just come over here and interact with each other and advertise and do peer-to-peer transactions and all these things, and we're not going to sell your data, and we're not going to be spying on your conversations. In fact, we built the tools so that we can resist that human temptation ourselves. We can't even spy on your conversations if we want to. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Now, are you going to be partnering with any other cryptocurrency related projects? There's maybe a lot of synergies that you could have out there. Are you in talks with anyone at the moment, or is there any crypto projects that you look at and go, wow, it'd be really cool to work with them as well?
Yeah, we're totally open to that. I mean, we're pretty heads down right now, we're on the Ethereum Rinkeby testnet at the moment. So they're not fully live Ethereum tokens, like getting traded or whatnot. But we're, moving as fast as we can to finish all our security audits. So the tokens, though, now are working on mines, and you're earning them every day. You can use them to boost and wire, but we haven't released all of the tokenomics for how, all the distribution schedule and all that stuff yet, because that's obviously essential. We have a word that we released that outlines most of the products and functionality, but our next big release is going to be the tokenomics and getting onto the main net, and we'll take a deep breath and jump.
Nice. Well, something I'd like to say to all the everyone listening out there is that if you haven't looked into Mines yet, you should definitely go and sign up, because it's still relatively early day for Mines. I know you guys have been around for a couple of years and you've got a pretty good subscriber base already, but this switch over to blockchain is going to be really exciting. And if you want to be in sort of more on the ground floor of something when they do kick off this blockchain model, it's definitely a good time to get an account and start creating some content and getting some likes over there. How do you compare to Steemit?
So we have mobile apps. We have a lot more, I think, general social networking functionality, groups, news feeds, posting images and videos. And I mean, I know Steemit has some of those features, but the key difference is the way that the economy works. So on Steemit, your voting power is determined by how much Steem you have. So the more Steem, the more power. And so you're trying to get the attention of a generally small number of users in order to make money there. And we've set it up where everyone's vote is the same. So we're based on raw engagement from unique users on the network. And the people who are taking the biggest percentage of the daily token reward pool are the people who are getting the largest amount of unique engagement, or referring the most people to the network. So that's, I think, pretty important, because what happens a lot on Steemit is that people get like bleary-eyed when they make $1,000 for a post or something, and then for the next powerful people to distribute. Now, I'm not going to say that whales couldn't potentially be created on Mines, and because influencers to a degree do deserve the greatest rewards. I mean, they're the ones bringing the energy to the network, so to a degree those people deserve it. I mean, and that is a very important aspect of like a meritocracy. So I'm not against the idea of whales completely, but we wanted to engineer it so it was a little less whaley.
I think the problem with Steem is that right now you have a situation where if you weren't on the ground floor, if you want to come in, if you want to be an influential person on Steemit now, you literally have to go and buy probably a couple $100,000 worth of Steem tokens in order to have the necessary voting power to be influential on Steemit, which seems really fundamentally wrong that you have to actually put out all this money in order to create content that is seen by people on Steemit. And I think that's perhaps where it really comes in, that you've got a couple people at the top who are highly influential and everyone else just scrambling for the scraps, which is what I really dislike about Steemit personally.
Yeah, I think that sometimes you get stuck in a model and just can't change. So, you start off with an idea and it just evolves, and then you're on the chain, and pivoting is really difficult. So I think that it's It was pretty centralized in terms of, I read a few things on the way that it was mined, and it was like pretty heavily controlled by just a few number of people, even from the way that it was architected in that sense. But what I like is that there's rewards. I think it's open source, and those are good things. It's really these proprietary spy networks that we have to be worried about, or alternatives acting like they're alternatives but still being proprietary.
Yeah, this is I think the good thing to point out is that Steemit may have some flaws. I use Steemit. I don't dislike Steemit, although I have my criticisms of it. But they're working in the right thing. They're trying to decentralize media and give power back to the people, and that is a worthy cause that is worth bringing up without a doubt. The real guys, of course, that you have to try to overcome is Facebook. So how do you plan on competing with Facebook? How do you get the message out there to say, hey, by the way, we're cooler than Facebook because of XYZ?
It's mostly about catching up to them in terms of functionality. And I think we are finally getting closer. We do have a ways to go, but if people have the choice between essentially the same level of functionality in an app, all the social networking features that you expect, and it respects your freedom and privacy and rewards you, then why wouldn't you choose the open, more freedom-based alternatives? So I think that's where we have the work to do, is just catch up. And now that our mobile apps are native, and our web app is doing really well, we're getting there. And I think that this token launch is going to help us get there even more. And it's really, we're still a small team. So once we can have the number of developers involved, it's going to be really hard for them to justify not adopting more of these types of foundational principles if they want to stay as viable.
And it's going to be really hard for them to do because they built their entire ecosystem business model around that. It's going to be hard for them to make that pivot because all the advertisers are going to flee. They're going to say, oh, you're changing the deal on us again for the 10th time. We're out of here. And so I could definitely see that.
No, I do hope that I hope that they do. I mean, at the end, the advertisers might say that, but the advertisers are also going to say, well, what the heck? You guys have been spying on everyone and doing all this stuff. So it's kind of like they have to choose, what is going to keep the most people around? Is it going to be, so they're going to have to balance the revenue that they're generating through the surveillance model versus the revenue that they're going to generate if they start transforming to better practices, and what's actually going to keep the people there, which is what is the most important thing.
One thing I really like too about Minds is you guys have a great interface, and I think this is where some of the other decentralized social medias fall down a little bit, is that they don't have that nice interface, but you guys do, and I think that's really inviting and comfortable for people who are looking to make that transition. Remember, guys, Facebook hasn't always been the big dog. There was a time when everybody had a MySpace account, and everybody just migrated over to Facebook. Well, it's time for another migration, guys. The herd needs to move a little bit, and somewhere like Minds is a good direction to be going, or at least a good direction to be looking to be checking out. Now, when are we going to see the mainnet launching?
We don't have a hard date, but we're definitely aiming for as soon as possible. This year.
Nice. It's going to be really exciting to see that blockchain integration on the main net. But nevertheless, guys, go over, check out Minds. There's going to be a link down below, so you can go over there and check it out. I'm over there. I'm posting all my videos over there, so you can go over there and watch the crypto lark on Minds. And of course, there's a lot of other great content creators that are already starting to move over there, like the Dollar Vigilante, for example. You can find him over there too. So get over there and check it out, guys. Be part of the decentralized media revolution that is happening. Bill, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's not just about us. I think that supporting the open source alternatives is just really important. So just signing up. It's not about like you have to go cold turkey and leave everything behind that you've built up on all these other networks. It doesn't have to be like that. But it helps us. That solidarity by signing up helps our growth, helps our metrics, helps morale among the community, and it sort of gets the snowball rolling. And so I just encourage people to support the products that are respecting their freedom. And that's on the browser level, that's on the operating system level, it's on the app level, it's everywhere. So that's really important. Hit me up, minds.com/Ottman, OTTMAN. Feel free to, let me know what your thoughts are.
That's great. You can reach out to the founder guys and actually get out there and, say, hey, I think this or I think that. I think that's really powerful. That's not what Zuckerberg's doing, so that's really cool. I love the whole open source mentality of it and the openness of Minds, and I wish you all the best, and I'm certainly going to keep using it. So, Bill, thanks so much for sitting down to chat with us about Minds today. It's been really interesting, so thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers.